It's time for Q&A in the Kitchen. It's a podcast and YouTube series where tattoo artists and a piercer talk about some of the more common questions that those that tattoo and pierce or those that collect tattoos and piercings may have. Brought to you in part by the lovely Skin Kitchen Tattoo and the Axiom Body Piercing Studio. What we're going to talk about today is the invisible ink thing, the magic ink, that thing, and we'll go into that in a second. But before we get into that, let's talk, let's say who's here today. We have over here across from the table, Jack Lowe, tattoo artist and owner of the Skin Kitchen. Over to my left over here is Brent Starr, tattoo artist at Skin Kitchen. And I'm DaVo, body piercer and on the Axiom Body Piercing Studio.
And all around nice.
And all around nice guy. Jimmy's sick today. So we're going to try to maybe get through at least one because it's been a while. We've been redoing the set. There's some things that have been going on. And just holidays in general just kind of lulled us down to doing.
I'm really disappointed in us that we didn't at least think of something for a stand-in. I mean, we have that monkey holding the light bulb.
Yeah, we could come up with something.
That would have been perfect if we would have just sat that.
I didn't think about that.
Then we wouldn't have had to say anything about him not being here.
Yeah, except the monkey wouldn't talk. Well, sometimes monkeys talk.
But that's all editing, you know that.
Yeah.
I mean, none of us look this good. This is all
no
magic you do after the fact.
You should see us in real life.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
It's hideous.
That's why we distract you with art. Yeah.
Anyway, so what we're going to talk about today is a couple different things. First off, we're going to talk about this magic ink, and then we're also going to talk about kind of what celebrity tattoos and what that whole thing is really about. For those who don't know, a guy named I can never remember his name.
Yeah, we
Isn't that
just
hilarious?
said it.
It's Keith McCurdy, right?
Keith McCurdy.
Yeah. Yep. I just had it up. And now my foogly googly.
Yeah, Keith McCurdy. And the reason why none of us know his name is because in the tattooing and body piercing world, he's not really that well known. He's known more from tattooing famous people and doing micro, tiny, itty bitty tattoos that don't last.
Yeah, it's it's just like really any industry. It's who you know, right?
Yeah.
Not to take anything away from any of the people that get known for doing work for a celebrity, and of course, celebrities know other celebrities, just like your friends are. Where you work, right? So if you got a lot of famous people coming to you because you tattooed a famous person and they've recommended and you kind of become the guy in their circle, that can really shoot you somewhere you didn't expect really, really fast. And that can, just like anybody kind of getting shoved into the limelight out of nowhere can either crash and burn or, use that notoriety, that attention for good. And anybody in the industry, I think, watching someone like, what's her name, Kat, it's almost, it's just a guaranteed. Pretty girl, she's young, she's getting tons of attention in an industry already that's getting tons of attention. I mean, people are just dumping money at tattooing shows and people and anything. They're putting it on liquor bottles, they're putting it on clothing, they're putting everything. Tattoos this, tattoo. And you get a pretty girl that can do pretty tattoos and bam. So that she didn't have a chance.
No, and they were just waiting for the train wreck to happen.
Yeah.
The train wreck is just, and I mean, she's being sued again.
Of course.
For doing a tattoo of a rock star. It was a portrait.
Big deal. Yeah.
And the photographer who's probably from the 1960s and a boomer and doesn't understand that, well, it's a new art piece, so it's not technically, it's no longer your intellectual property.
He needs to give Lars Ulrich a call and get caught up to speed the way that the internet has changed things like that. And Walt Disney, of course, most anybody who's been tattooing any length of time knows that, Disney sued, I don't remember who it was, but sued an artist for doing a Mickey Mouse tattoo. And they were really popular back then. A lot of people getting characters from Walt Disney, and they still do, actually. Yes, very much. So,
especially
anyway,
those are Disney people.
Yeah, and it is not.
No,
they aren't.
No. And that goes back to the soup can lawsuit
Exactly
with
that.
Warhol, where they decided that it was a new piece of art and thus
Yeah.
it's not covered.
Right. Yeah. It's If it is created by a human hand, it cannot be a replication of the original.
Yeah.
It's impossible. It is absolutely. I mean, you show me data somewhere that someone, even the same person, could do the same piece of art exactly the same.
You can't replicate anything like that.
You can if you're doing it by hand. That's why it's crafted. You know, that's why a lot of times people, at least back in the day, looked at something that was crafted by a human hand as more valuable because it wasn't just stamped by a machine.
Well, there's even today, if you go artisan stuff is going to be more expensive than what you're going to buy off the rack at.
And isn't a tattoo artisan?
Sure.
You know,
it's handcrafted.
Right. So if you walk by a shop where a guy's making clay bowls and you're like, wow, man, those are some cool bowls. I like those style. And you go home, you throw some bowls and you sell them and they look like his. They're not your bowls. They're not.
No.
Yeah, they got a similar rim at the top. They were very much inspired by yours, but I made this with my own hand.
Yeah.
It is not identical. You have different clay. You have different hands. You have a different, thicknesses, different techniques to making the bowl. So they are two different bowls. Yes, from a person who doesn't know anything about bowls, they're going to look exactly the same, just like a tattoo. People will come in here and have a piece of crap on them and think it's great, and you show them something that you think is absolutely gorgeous, and they see no difference in the quality or in the price and why there's a difference.
Mm-hmm. Same thing with piercing, same thing with jewelry.
And that is art.
Yeah.
It's
all perspective.
What's it worth to that individual?
Yep. It's like collectibles. Everybody's always like, oh, how much is this worth? And I was always the one that everybody called because I used to collect stuff.
Sure.
And I'd be like, well, if you can find somebody to pay for it.
Yeah,
it all comes down to what somebody's willing to pay for something.
Exactly.
That's the real value of everything.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to celebrity tattooing. Mm-hmm. One of the things I always like to point out is it isn't necessarily the skill of this person.
Oh, yeah.
It's usually their accessibility and how they interact with celebrities has more to do with it. And with this particular case, he's gone kind of the Maria Tosh method of how things have gone. He's moved into very exclusive fashion areas of New York. He set up a shop that's very fashion forward and very, hip to kind of draw that type of clientele. And that's what he's done.
Yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily, just because somebody tattooed so-and-so, it's not necessarily worth it to you as a layman to go to this person and pay an extremely large amount of money to get tattooed by them, when you could probably find somebody maybe more talented, more dependable, easier to get into, and more affordable that can produce better art.
Right. But what I think, but no one else has that added value that person sees in that person doing it.
I get it.
Because the one reason I think that you'll get like this group or circle of friends that you become the guy is because you're pre-vetted. Mm-hmm. They know what they're going to get already. They can relax a little more. Their friend said you're cool, so that helps. I don't have to be as nervous. And famous people are people. They hang out and they're friends and they're da-da-da. And if that famous friend comes in and is talking about a tattoo she got and showing it off and saying the guy was cool and da-da-da and this happened and man, let's go and da-da-da. But, it had nothing to do or not everything to do with the ability of that artist.
That's what I'm getting at.
So, right. There was added value. Man, he's a nice guy. Man, he stayed late. I was $50 short and he didn't, he said, catch me tomorrow. So I dropped him 100 and he was, it could be a lot of these.
He's available anytime I need him.
Right.
Which is not always a sign of a great artist.
Not always. but every artist
probably
out there,
not busy.
Every artist out there has those clients.
Yeah.
And I imagine if you're the type of artist that sees value in someone famous coming to get tattooed by you, then you are going to facilitate that because you realize that person's going to get me more work than that person. So
and very
you go away.
work.
I'm my clientele I'm going for is that. I don't care about that as much because I'm going for this. So that's why you open up in posh places. That's why you charge a lot. I think the clientele wants to. They want to say, I paid a lot.
It's a status thing.
Yeah. And there's the added value of getting it by that guy instead of anybody else. They've kind of got that added little bling to it.
And I have to say that most of the celebrities that I've known throughout the years and encountered don't have good taste. Most of them
crazy.
Terrible taste.
It's crazy that the limited a handful of people that are known, man, they get terrible tattoos.
Pete Davis has some great tattoos. I don't know.
And you know what I found out, or at least in the in the situations I've been in, is, and it makes total sense. You've got tattooers all over the place that see value in tattooing a famous person, because then they can say, I tattooed this famous person. Bam, right? So not only am I hopefully going to get more famous people, and then that's a more chance that people are going to know that person and then know who did the tattoo. The more famous people, the more people. I can say, even if that person never says who did it, I can say I did it. Look, I got a picture with them. I'm good enough that someone you look up to let me tattoo them. So of course it would be silly if you didn't trust me.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's it's perceived value in the transaction, and you make your choice, and that kind of can show why you're in it and why you're not. What's the main value you want out of it? Fame. Yeah. I want everybody to know. I want to be that famous guy. Okay, well then you're gonna chase what you think's gonna give you that, and that's not wrong. Nothing says that why. Do what you want to do, brother.
Yeah. I mean, we might find it crazy that he's charging $10,000 an hour or whatever.
But there's a market.
There's somebody that's willing to pay that.
Yeah,
Is it really that much?
Yeah, like he was at least according to the internet, and that's always got to be taken with a little bit of a grain of salt. Is I heard things as high as $120 or $120,000 for a sleeve.
Ooh.
Wow. Yeah, and the thing is, the guy's known for doing these little tiny, high detailed tattoos that don't look great after about 5 years.
But it's a novelty.
It's a novelty, and it's something people want.
It's like anything.
Fad.
It's like a spinner, a finger spinner. It is literally nothing. It's nothing, and everybody had to have it.
Hula hoops. The only thing that sold that was the little BBs they put in it.
Right.
Before they've been around forever.
And we're if you back up far enough, we're no different than ants. You drop a little something somewhere, and we all go. Gotta have it. Why? Because he's got to have it. And it's not a mystery.
No.
In behavior, so it's easy to do that and go, oh my God, did you see that? What? Oh, dude, this rock. I can't believe it. Really? Why? What? All of a sudden, it's got more value.
Yeah, because it came in a box that said pet on it.
If I dropped dead just then, what? How much is it worth now? Like
a lot less.
No, dude, he was saying that this was some amazing rock, and then he drops. That's a special rock. Have you ever seen a rock do that? So now that rock is $10 billion because it perceived. It may have had nothing to do with the death. It may be no special rock, but now it is.
See, I don't know if you guys grew up during the period of time where they had the pet rocks. Put it in a cart, put a 20 cent cardboard box around it.
Is it that weird that a guy could charge $120,000 a day for a chair? No,
because it comes back to what you value it as, and finding somebody that's willing to pay that,
and convincing them that they're right, and that anybody who doesn't see the value in it is. Well,
you just don't know.
Right. But neither are right and neither are wrong.
Yeah.
You can do what you like for whatever reason you want to do it. And someone's going to have an opinion that ranges the scale from you should be killed to you should be God of the world because you made such a great choice, and all in between. So, it's fun to sit back and point out the people that are worse than you because they didn't make the same choices to prove to yourself that, you did. But really, do I think it's excessive? Yeah. Is it something I'm interested in doing in my career? Absolutely not.
I mean, we could Starr fuck a couple people that we've tattooed.
I had that opportunity.
And to be honest with you, I did it more, and I did things like I pierced outside of my normal business hours and gave them breaks and et cetera. But that was because I was friends with them long before they were famous.
Yep. Yeah. And they're famous for a reason. Okay. Yeah. Anybody in that category, they have charisma. Yeah. They have a way of making you want to like them, and you want them to like you. They have something special that they get paid more money than they can spend for being somewhere.
Yeah.
And that person is choosing to be with you and be cool with giving you money while they're doing it.
Yeah, because they're used to getting everything for free. That's the other thing that, like, the last person
they're spoiled, but there's a reason they're spoiled.
Yeah,
because like I said, they have a quality about them that they're able to sell themselves,
and that creates more value for
bam.
Yep.
So yeah,
it's the whole
marketing,
selling a house in the Northeast and going Washington. Here.
Yeah.
There's no way to prove it, but hey, I heard, somebody told me.
And there's nothing that says just because someone does tattoo a famous person and does blow up and become famous because of it, doesn't mean that they wanted anything to do with it.
No, I think half of it is mistake. I don't think he knew half the people he was doing when he started.
Could be, yeah.
But he definitely went with it.
Sure.
And it's one of those fork in the road situations, I'm sure, like everything. You're going to come to that point where it's like, well, do I want to be famous for, being the person who did this little tattoo on Taylor Swift?
Mm-hmm.
Is that really what I want for the rest of my life?
Is that why I'm here? Is that what I'm going to be satisfied with?
I want to, go down this path that I've been going down?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that question is a lot easier to answer the more you know the reason you're doing it in the first place.
Yeah.
Why are you even tattooing? Have you even asked yourself that ever? Like, really, why? Because I think those guys look cool and it looks like a fun lifestyle. Because I absolutely love art, and putting it on a human body and watching it live and die. They're just, something spiritual. I mean, whatever it is, if you know why you're doing it, those aren't even questions when it happens. They called me back and they said, man, they've got this magazine. They want to do a blow up special thing on this tattoo you just did on Mr. Perfect, and you blah, blah, blah. And if that doesn't interest you, and you are interested in your studio and your art and your clients and getting towards your peace and your happiness and spending your life doing that, then you're gonna immediately go, oh, I am flattered, but no, I am not interested in any of that. I am really busy with what I want to do.
Living my life.
And, I know you can make a lot of money off of this, and I know you can bait me along with, oh, I can make you famous, but I just don't see happy famous people ever. I've never seen a happy famous person.
It's hard to be adjustable.
They're miserable, and I don't want anything that a famous person has.
And we've all been. I've been in a number of situations where I'll notice somebody from across, like at a restaurant in Los Angeles, and you're looking at them, and you're like, oh, hey, it's so and so, and you can see this look in their eyes, like, please,
yep.
please don't recognize me. Please don't come over and tell me how good I am at something. Just I'm having dinner with my kid that I haven't seen in months.
That is the exact opposite of what I want.
Yeah,
it is. I would love to be invisible and go wherever I want and not have to be, not have to interact with people, not have people want to be my friend or come up and talk to me. I'm not interested in it. I'm just not. And it's not. It doesn't come from a place of anger or hatred or better than da 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 da. Man, I require and demand a lot from myself to keep myself in a place where tomorrow gets better. And unfortunately, that burns a lot of fuel, and I got to triage that fuel, and that time doesn't make it into the list much anymore,
And to me anymore, it's really easy for me to get. I've kind of trained myself to turn it off and on.
Yeah, right.
And I know how to kind of quickly get out of conversations when I need
to. Definitely.
And a lot of times, I'll be honest, everybody out there, my capacity to remember people, especially clients at this point, well past.
Right.
They say that you can only really know about 130 people. That's what the human mind is capable of. Mm-hmm. If you take into account the number of people that I've pierced in the last 30 years, you take into account my friends' family, my extended family. I have thousands of cousins, and you add to that live booking and being in the music scene for as long as I have, and being a very social person for the most part, and having and being somebody who had a lot of different interests.
Yeah.
You come up and walk up and talk to me. Unless we, shared 2 or 3 weeks of binge drinking or something, there's like a story there.
Yeah.
I'm not going to remember who you are.
I know.
Especially, and I've come to this conclusion, no one ever can get mad at me anymore that has a full beard.
Oh, right.
If I blocked off half my face, and then suddenly appeared in front of everybody and like, hey, how's it going?
Right.
Everybody be like, who are you?
And
I mean, you're in disguise, in my opinion.
Right. We see, and I think, though, I'd like to see a graph on this, but I would think that in our line of work, we meet a lot of new people, more so than just an average, whatever that is, or someone who doesn't work in the time we spend is kind of a personal time, but it's short, but it's very personal. Yeah. So that time that they spent with you it stands out in their life. It kind of peaks a bit, because there was that time that my pants were off and that guy was sticking the thing in the thing. Anyway. Yeah, we'll edit it. Anyways,
they'll figure it out.
But to the person doing it, you were there was a lot of those in their life. So it doesn't have that same peak. It doesn't stand out. It doesn't ring the same bell, I think. And so it's a tough balance
Basically,
sometimes.
you're trying to say we're like sex workers.
In a way.
Pirate sex workers,
Yeah, well, if you ask someone who's had sex once to describe it, describe that, and then ask somebody who's had sex 25 times to describe each time,
it gets a little blurry.
They all kind of, how they start.
I always put it this way, like, and the 1 or 2 times I've had somebody get upset with me, it's like, okay, when you see your doctor in public, do you get mad when they don't recognize you?
Right.
And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, how about the nurse that works with them? That sees, 50, 60 clients, patients a day.
Right.
You get mad at them? What about the RN nurse that time when you broke your arm? You get mad when they don't recognize you?
Have they called the cops by now?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, gee.
Yeah.
So I think we hit this pretty heavy.
Right.
Why don't we move on to this invisible ink, magic ink stuff?
Yeah.
What it is a UV reactive light. It was originally developed. And I see things moving forward in this direction. Very interesting as a type 2 diabetic that they've been talking about using it in this way. But basically, the idea was to make a freckle out of this ink, and then it would react when the sunscreen or whatever you had on wore out, and the UV came in contact with it, the dangerous rays that cause cancer.
So this is a photosensitive ink.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, it's going to react when UV light hits it and will stay activated until deactivated with another wavelength of light.
I think with just white light. I can't remember what exactly the other wavelength is.
Yeah, but it's 2 different wavelengths. One is like a black light.
Yeah.
And you don't have to have the black light shining on it to see the pigment. You just, the light hits the pigment and makes it react and makes it opaque so it shows up.
Yeah.
And will stay that way until the other wavelength of light is passed over it, and it makes it clear. Makes the pigment translucent again.
Yeah.
And then it goes away.
It's like reactive and non-reactive.
Now this is kind of weird, because I just normally UV light, it's destroying your tattoo at all times, So, but this pigment relies on
it. Yeah.
UV
That's
light.
Interesting.
So, what's the lifespan of this?
It just got on the market, so
I wonder what kind of testing long term they've done on that, because that was my big kind of hang up on the UV reactive or the UV reflective tattoo.
They rushed that on the market, I think, a little bit.
And
this started in academic. This woman was working in a university, I think, under a grant of some sort to come up with this. And then probably couldn't find a sellable, practical.
Oh, yeah.
And turned to tattooing because it's just a natural thing to do because it's a tattoo ink.
Well, yeah. It's an industry that is in the purview of big money and has been for a while now. So that's why.
Especially when you consider how much they're charging for it, which is $100 for 2 milliliters.
2 milliliters.
Which is about enough to do half a tattoo? I don't know.
I'd
I
have
don't
to
tattoo.
see what are our ink caps? Aren't they like? Aren't they like one? Isn't a big ink cap like 1 milliliter?
Is it?
Like one of those.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought that was like 3.
Oh God, I hope not.
No.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking just a little bottle and a flashlight.
Oh, you get a flashlight with it?
You get a flashlight. Otherwise, it's not going to work because I don't even know how you would tattoo with it.
It has to have 2 different wavelengths of light. I was just looking to see if I could find the for sale.
And then if you lose the flashlight, you're screwed.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, if it's just a UV light, you can buy UV flashlights. I don't know what the
cancellation
anti-light is.
Yeah, that's the part I'm a little shaky on.
Yeah.
I wonder if I can get back to that spot I was at where I was.
My concern would be, what's it made out of?
Yeah, how is it actually working? Let me see.
I think it's using some type of plant thing.
Okay, so kind of like a photosynthesis, whatever it is.
Yeah, photosynthesis.
That stuff
to become reactive.
Yeah. Okay.
Part of the idea with this is like, one of the things they brought up, which was kind of interesting to me, but it really isn't something I want, but was like you could do a circle on your arm and, one day have it be half filled. Next day it could be a moon. The next day it could be, I don't know, a cross. You could change it based on how you want it that day. Kind of like an eraser board.
Yeah, you could have numerous tattoos in the same spot and just turn on what tattoo you would want to see that day and leave the others inactivated, or could have a layered effect tattoo where you could have like a pinup girl that you could change the outfits on.
Fun.
So it's kind of like
a paper doll,
like those pens.
Yeah, those pens.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, that would be kind of neat.
Have her be topless and then not.
Yeah,
topless.
you could just you're going to grandma's house. You put the top on, and then you're going hanging out with the boys and freaking.
Or you could do the Grim Reaper, and then like, nope, it's not the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, right. Have the cloak all covered, and then whoop, just have the tits uncovered. Be like,
or the penis to keep everybody happy.
Or if
the old flasher,
if you're living a double life, like you had a gay relationship on the back burner, but like you were married with kids.
Yeah,
you could have all the gay pride tattoos and stuff when you were with the back burner, and then when you went home, you could just be and then be the Mr. Normal guy at night.
It's like Clark Kent and
the only problem
Superman.
is it only comes in fuchsia.
For now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got to get those other 2 colors.
And why is that? I imagine.
I don't know.
And maybe I'm sure if we dug, but who wants to do research? That's dumb.
If it's plant based, it's probably.
Is it plant based? Is that what it says?
I don't know. It's brand new on the market, so God only knows.
Plant based. See, I was thinking it almost had to be a metallic structure.
That's what I would reckon.
Because it's a rust kind of color, and I know that might not mean anything, but really, what substance that could be in there would give it that color? And I guess it could be some sort of plant type. That like plants reacting to the UV with chlorophyll and things. Maybe it's somehow reversible. Some chlorophyllic type reaction.
Let me look at this and see if it says anything.
I wonder if it's related to like like how like an octopus or a chameleon can change its colors. I wonder if that's maybe it's.
I
animal.
don't think so.
No?
Because that's different cells. They've got it's almost like an LED type panel. They've got these bundles of different colored. Or cells basically that they can react certain cells more than others, just like a TV creating a color using RGB, and turning up yellow and turning down red to make certain oranges. It's more of a biological type reaction, but I don't know, man.
They're calling themselves, it's Hyperskin who came up with it.
Hyperskin.
Oh,
and they're calling themselves a nanotech company.
So it's like hypercolor shirts back in the day?
Yeah.
But that's heat.
I remember those.
Yeah.
Not UV.
It doesn't really go into exactly how it works. I'm sure it does, but it's one of those things where they're selling it.
You remember the Transformers used to have those little like heat reactive little symbols.
True, yeah.
They did kind of have like a magenta kind of look to them
Color
when they were heated up. So
that's very true.
I wonder if that might be something that's similar.
Yeah,
but the human body, it can't have anything to do with temperature. It's the wavelength of light that is making a particle opaque and then translucent.
It's magic.
Depending on the wavelength of light that hits it.
Well, they do call it magic ink, so...
Oh, that's it. It's magic. We're sitting here trying to figure it out.
Wow. Science dummies.
Oh, man. What a waste of time.
Well, it's one of those things where if anybody's ever going to use it, that's the question.
There really could be some fun applications.
The ones that you had playing earlier, those look kind of cool, the tattoos were well done. And
it really could be neat. Like, not to get morbid, but who doesn't like to get morbid? You could do a real duality tattoo. You could have a beautiful angel, but, apply, like they had a wolf that, was growling, but looked kind of, didn't look too bad. And then they passed the light and there's blood and saliva just gushing out and flying everywhere. So you could do kind of the same thing with, I do like an angel and there'd be, places where the clouds would kind of overlap and things and be all holy, and you pass the light and it turns into just chaos and fire, and the eyes sink in and just gets like cryptic.
It's almost like you get a chance to animate your tattoo.
That's kind of the thing. Here we go. Magic ink is infused with photochromic particles. By controlling exposure to the photochromic particles to specific light wavelengths, it is possible to cause reverse change in color or transparency.
So that's as much as they explain it.
Magic.
Yeah, it's some type of cell that's reactive.
I'll have to look into photoreactive. What did they call it? Particles. The
photochromic particles.
Okay. Yeah, that's.
So I'm guessing it's something that either is made in a lab.
I bet it's something that I wouldn't be surprised, I'll say, that it's something they came up with studying and looking into those organisms that do and can change their skin color. And
say that's probably a good bet. Because,
right.
Yeah,
it could be pretty neat. I mean, facial tattoos, here we come.
And it's been being tested for 5 years. But it creates another situation, though, is like you have a huge facial tattoo, and you go to meet the parents for the first time.
And it's out at the beach.
And you forget the sunblock at home, and unemployable fuck you is suddenly appearing on your forehead.
Something to consider as well.
Playa.
There's a lot, or was before it was scrubbed, maybe. I don't know but sunblock is highly cancerous, cancer-causing.
Well, there's some of the stuff that's in it.
Well, yeah, and they supposedly,
et cetera, because they're unsure what it actually does for long-term use.
It's hilarious. Yeah, cover your body in this chemical so you don't get cancer. but so if you are an anti-sun sunblock type of person or whatever, and you wanted this type of tattoo, it does mean that you would have to apply those chemicals to you if you didn't want them to react when you were at an outside wedding or something. Seriously, I mean, it is something to think about, because you wouldn't be able to just turn it off, at all if you're outside.
Halfway through the church meeting, and Hail Satan kind of appears on your forehead.
Yeah, so, I mean, you got to consider...
Here's the mark of the beast.
Being an HA and, still living the other life. Because
being it's got that kind of pinkish, reddish kind of hue, I could just do a fake sunburn tattoo.
That's perfect.
Well, it looks kind of
no, I got it. You just put "turn me over," because that means you're done. You got no. All right.
I mean,
there's something there.
Out done. In the sun,
yeah.
Out in the sun, I could see that. Being funny.
Right. You're laying out, and then you might pass out or fall asleep and taking a nap, and somebody walks by. they're going to see that and go, oh, and then roll you over.
There you go. There you go.
And then we all laugh.
I mean, no wonder they marketed this stuff. This guy's going to be a millionaire.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it
I
will
am
get
curious
used.
to actually buy a bottle and just see what it does. But
You buy it, I'll stick it in you, baby.
okay, we'll see. Maybe for future references.
It could. Oh yeah, let us know if you want to see me tattoo.
Because I can see a lot of practical things being done with this, like things like medical conditions.
Yeah.
And et cetera, that you don't want to have a bracelet on. Well, it has you don't want a chip in your arm. Would it be better to have it tattooed on you and just they shine a light on it? Oh, there's your basic information they need to know to make sure you don't die.
Oh, they know that.
Yeah.
They got facial recognition.
You know what I'm saying.
But yeah. Man, I just sitting here really never putting a whole lot of thought to it, came up with some really just fun ideas. And especially if they come out with
Different
other colors would be cool. Yeah. But really, I want black.
Because the other
I want to be able to do just what I do in black and gray, and then just be able to go. Whoop.
Look at the application. It already looks like henna.
Yeah,
you could do a whole henna sleeve and not have to wear
do
it
it just
every day
all in
if
that.
You're really into that. Yeah,
let's do it.
Yeah.
You're gonna die anyway.
Eventually.
All right.
Dedicating my body's going to science.
Right to me.
Yeah, I already told the kid.
Science.
Yeah.
Well, we'll cut you up.
Yeah.
We'll get a 6-pack of expensive weird beer and just butcher you up.
Go, wow, this is why you drank this whole time.
Yeah.
It tastes like stuff.
All right.
Let us know what you think of that idea. Also, let us know what you think of the new setup. I really like this. It seems more like a conversation and less like I'm sitting on a talk show. I don't know. And we'll be adding more photos and knickknacks and et cetera here as
it'll be like an Easter egg hunt.
Yes.
New things will kind of appear.
And hopefully Jimmy's feeling better by then.
Yeah. Hey, anybody out there that gives a shit, give a good thought to the guy. He's been suffering pretty good. He's
got some stomach issues.
Yeah, he's been maybe hernia or something. He maybe tore something in his gut or something. So, send him a good thought, man. We need him.
Yep. And go out and get tattooed and pierced.
That too.
Because that's the point of all this, is to enjoy it.
Absolutely.
So I think that pretty much sums it all up.
Yeah.
Till next time, here's hoping all your tattoos and piercings heal with ease and without a single issue. And if you're in the Des Moines, Iowa area, we'd all love to see if your tattooing and body piercing needs in the future. Have a good day, everybody. Take care and call your mom.
Yeah.